Welcome to the Vantage HR Influencers Podcast. This podcast is sponsored by Vantage Circle, the leading employee benefits and engagement platform.
In the corporate sector, there are a variety of leadership styles to choose from, and each style has their unique method of motivating employees. Managers or leaders blend their own personalities into their leadership style and reach out to their employees and push them to achieve at a high level. What are the most important styles of leadership, and what is their impact on employee motivation? Which leadership style is the most effective? We'll know everything in today's episode with guest speaker Christelle Biiga. Christelle is a former corporate executive turned personal empowerment coach, TV and podcast host, and an inspirational speaker. Welcome to the show, Christelle.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having me.
Great. Okay, so before we start with the topic today about leadership styles and the impact of leadership styles on employee motivation, please brief us about your journey in the corporate world.
Thank you. So my name is Christelle Biiga. I'm originally from Cameroon, and I moved to the United States 5 years ago. And the first job that I got when I arrived here was at LAX. And funny story is that LAX is an airport that has a lot of history for me before I get to my journey as a corporate executive. When I arrived at LAX 5 years ago to, start a new life in the United States, I almost got deported because an immigration officer said I was coming to work as a prostitute. Okay. For some reason, he said, I can't get in because I was coming to work as a prostitute. Fast forward, I ended up in jail for 9 months. They call it detention center for immigration procedures. But I had to stay there for 9 months before getting granted the right to stay. And it was really a tough journey for me because I couldn't even speak English and I had no family or friends for me here. But I made it through that experience. And the first job that I landed was at the same airport at LAX. I started as a customer service representative for an airline. And in less than a year, I became a manager, which was a surprise because the HR told me it has never happened before in the company. It was the first time that somebody became a manager in less than a year. And it was really a great experience for me because, as I mentioned, I could barely speak English when I got here. So the primary reason why I even got that position was because the airline was a French airline. So my French background was helpful for the passengers, right? And I put all my heart in the job and worked really hard. And when the position opened, I was designed as the best candidate to take that position. I stayed there for almost 2 years before, branching out to start my own business. Yeah, that's a brief summary of my my experience in the corporate world.
Yeah. Okay. So, Christelle, today's topic is about leadership styles and what impact it has on employee motivation. So before we go to that, I think we should first know what is leadership or what is leadership style in management. Would you like to define that?
Absolutely. So leadership is really the ability to lead yourself and lead other people. That's the definition that I love about leadership, because to be a leader, to be able to lead other people, you have to be able to lead yourself. What does leading people means? As a leader, you should be able to have a vision. That's where you are leading people. What is the goal? Where are you taking your team to? So you have to have a clear picture of what that destination looks like as a leader. And you also have to be able to convey that vision to your team in a way that makes sense to them enough to be willing to follow you. That's the difference between a leader and a boss, because a boss just tells you what to do, and he doesn't really care if you believe in the vision or you want to do it. Just do it, right? But a real leader wants to embark you in the journey. Why? Because when people believe in the vision, when people believe in what the company stands for, when people believe in what the company is trying to achieve, their investment in that vision is different. So that's why a real leader is somebody that first have that vision, but also has the ability to share the vision with the team in order for them to want to follow him or her in that journey. So that's what I define as a real leader and a good leader. So if you're able to do those two things, create that vision that is, appealing to yourself and to other people. That's why I said first, you have to be able to lead yourself. So how passionate are you about the goal or the vision you create for the company? Because when people look at you as a leader, they want to see how much you believe yourself in that vision. They want to see how much you're invested in that, whatever goal you're trying to achieve or make them achieve as a team. They want to see how much you're invested, how much you believe in it, and how much you are passionate about it. And that's one thing that they will want to have as well. So if a leader is not invested, people are not. For example, when I was working at LAX, I used to, before me, the previous managers were struggling with the team because they were complaining, okay, people called off all the time. People were not, invested or making mistakes all the time. And they were resigning quite a bit. The turnaround was really, really quick. Every 3-6 months, we had to hire again and start the training from scratch, which cost a lot of money to the company, right? Every time you have a new employee means you have to train, and the training time is not, the company is all making money. The company is losing money technically. So that wasn't profitable for the company to have such turnaround. And we couldn't figure out what was the issue. So when I became a manager, the advantage that I had was also that I was part of, the team. Like I was a regular agent before. So I knew the complaints that, agents have. We knew where was the breakdown between the management and the team. So when I became a manager, I came with that knowledge, with that experience, and I was able to figure out a way to communicate, to bridge the gap between the team and the management. And I was able to do that how? By leading by example. I was a leader who will show that I can get the job done and I don't mind, rolling my sleeves and doing it. So what started happening was that people will volunteer to do tasks without me having to ask, which before they were not even interested into. They were working around the clock. Nope, it's my time. I clocked in, I clocked out, I'm out. I don't care. But because I knew how, they felt, I started leading by example. I will show up on time or maybe earlier. So when they come in the office, they see me. So they were witnessing. When you're a leader, people look at you. Right? Definitely. People are analyzing everything that you do. So that's why I say you have to lead yourself first in order for you to be able to lead people. If you are trying to ask them to do something that they don't see you invested into, you are asking them to achieve results that they don't see yourself trying to achieve, they don't want to do it and they will not be motivated. So when they started seeing how I will show up, how I will get, tasks done that are not even part of my job. I was a manager, so some things I didn't have to do, but I will do it if needed. So they witnessed that, so they shifted. In their mind, they were not giving excuses as, this is not my job, this is not part of my job. They were volunteering to do things beyond what they were getting paid for. So that's what a leader is. You create the vision, you show people, you share the vision with your team, but you lead them by example. You lead yourself first through that vision, and that way they see how invested you are, how passionate you are, and they are more likely to start following you.
Yes, exactly. Brilliant. Yeah. So you have been into positions of leadership for years now. So what are the most important styles of leadership according to you?
Communication.
Okay.
Communication is a game changer when it comes to leadership style, because what usually creates the breakdown between the team and the management is that the team feels like they are not part of the communication. They feel like they are being told what to do without them really knowing what's going on. When people don't see the big picture, they feel like, okay, I just come and do my job and I leave. So what I was doing, and the reason why people started quitting less, is because they felt like they were part of the conversation of what was happening and where the company was going. So you want to give them the big picture of what is happening. And the reason why some leaders struggle with that is because it's scary to put yourself in this place where you want to share the vision, because sometimes some leaders believe that, oh, they don't need too much information. They don't need to know all of that. They don't need that. They just need to know what is their task, what is their responsibility, and just get it done. Maybe they don't need, maybe no need to know the big picture where really overall where the company is going. But when they know, they feel like they are part of something. Everybody wants to be a part of something bigger than themselves. So if you involve them in the conversation by sharing with them that bigger picture and letting them know this is where the company is going and this is the reason why we are going there. This is what the company stands for. And also communication means listening to the team, creating a space where they know that they can share their ideas. They feel safe enough to say, give suggestions. Don't make them feel like they have nothing to say. They just have to follow the instructions. Open the communication in a place where people feel safe to give their ideas. And it's really important to encourage the team to feel like their ideas matter. Their ideas are relevant. What they have to say, even if you don't implement them, even if you will not use those ideas, at least create space for them to share those ideas during meetings, during briefings. When I was doing the briefings, it was really them speaking more than I was doing. I was asking them questions because I wanted them to participate. Usually, even when I was a staff, I noticed that, the previous managers will come and tell us what is expected, what are the requirements, what they expect from the team. And of course, people will feel like, okay, I just do my job and I go home. They don't believe that they don't even feel like part of the company. So of course, their investment, their motivation will be different. So I will come and ask them questions about what we are doing, what new strategies we have in place, what do they think about it, how do they want to get involved in it. So they started feeling like they belong to the company. They felt part of the company. They were more invested because now they didn't feel like just task accomplish, like they just come to accomplish a task and go home. No, now they had a sense of belonging, which every human being wants. So that's what you want to create with your team. That communication style will allow you to create, first of all, trust within your team. And also they will want to be a part of what you are doing. So they will go above and beyond for you to create the result that you want. Because without that team, there is no way for you to reach the result. So you want to embark them in that journey with you. And the way to do that is really through communication. Both sides, not just you giving information, but also allowing them to express themselves, encouraging them to share ideas, which means they will have to think, they will have to come up with solutions, they will have to come up with new ways of doing things. And those are some of exercises that I was asking them to do. I was saying, we have these systems in place. We have these ways of doing things, but nothing is set in stone. Maybe you guys, because you are the people performing those tasks on a daily basis, maybe you have noticed better ways that could get the job done in a more effective way. So I really invite you to suggest what we can change, what we can, do better, what we can do to make it faster and more effective. So now they are not just performing the task. Now while they're performing the task, they are looking for ways to improve. So which will, of course, benefit the company in the long run, because the systems that we have in place sometimes are outdated, but we don't really realize it. The people performing the task on a daily basis are more in a position to let us know, hey, maybe if we change this, but the only way for them to come up with those type of solutions and ideas and suggest them to you is if you open the communication. If they know it's okay for them to create, it's okay for them to innovate, it's okay for them to suggest new ways of doing things. So communication for me is a big key.
Right. So that is the most effective thing, you believe for effective leadership in your team, right? Communication is the key.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. So another thing, Christelle, that is, it's important to be a trustworthy leader, isn't it? And at the same time, not spill company secrets. So how can you keep company secrets from your team being an effective leader?
The first question will be, what real secrets a company can have that really, it depends, right? It depends on what the company does. If you guys deal with sensitive information, yes, there is a need to know in different levels. There are different stages where we know, okay, some people need to know some information to perform the attack. Some people don't need to know that information. So it's really important to know that. And at the same time, when people, need to know something, don't hide that information from them. Because guess what? If they know, and even if we don't disclose some information, again, you want to tell them why they can't have that information. That's how they trust you, because it's important to realize that team members are smart people. They are smart and they are human beings. Right. If you explain something to somebody, the person is more apt to work with you and say, yeah, I get it. But if somebody just have the feeling that they are hiding informations, they feel like, okay, if they don't trust me, if I'm not part of this company, why do I want to go the extra mile? I will just come and do my daily task and leave. Yeah. I will not, do it more than, I will not have that motivation to really give my all, because anyway, they don't consider me as a part of this. They are hiding things from me. So it's better, even if there are information that cannot be disclosed, to let them know, okay, this is all we can tell you for now, for this and this and these reasons. This is all you can know. You need to know right now, because this is sensitive information, and these are the only people that can have access to that information for so and so reason. Transparency is really important. Secrets are, yes, some company needs those secrets. It's important. So even when you have those secrets, let them know some informations are not available to you right now, and that way they don't feel left on the side. They don't feel like we are just keeping away information from them because we don't believe they are part of the company. That's what is really important. People want to know that the company doesn't consider them as just numbers. That's why employees are not motivated. That's why they don't feel a sense of belonging, and they don't find their work even meaningful. What allows people to find their work meaningful and for them to want to do it for over the years with passion is when they know they belong to something. They are part of the company. They are not just a number. And I had that feeling a lot, and I had to make my team change that, because for a very long time, it was a big one. They don't care about us. We are just numbers here. They say that all the time. We are just numbers. So I had to make them understand that, no, we value your presence here, and we want you to know that this company is not the same without you. That's why we want your contribution. We want you to let us know what we can improve, because you are part. This is your family. People spend so many hours at work, more than with their own families. So it's important for them to feel at home, even at work. And even if we cannot, it's like in the household, even when we cannot give some information to our children or our loved ones, we tell them why. So same, employees are human beings. They understand things. They are smart enough, and you want them to know that they are part of it. The information that are not available to them, there is a reason why, and there is nothing about them not being deserving to know what's going on.
Okay. So, Christelle, how important is rewards and recognitions for leaders to have, to work on employee motivation and performance?
It's a big one. It's really, really important. I remember when I started doing the end of the year evaluation, that was an opportunity for me to really, because sometimes we don't always have time as leaders to, especially if we are like at the management level, we don't really have time to connect with all the staff the same way. We don't have that space on a daily basis. And sometimes they don't know what we really think about them. They don't know. They just guess, or sometimes they interpret our reactions or what we say during meetings, or when something happens. They don't really know if we appreciate them, if we like their work, or what we really think about them. And that mystery can really be solved during those evaluation times. For me, it was really a great opportunity to have a conversation. I will not just, check boxes on a sheet of paper, regarding their performance, but I will really take the time, even when they had areas where they needed to improve, to have a conversation about it and let them come up with, the decision that it's time maybe to shift something or to change or to improve. So evaluation is great. Is really, really great. We just have to make sure that the staff don't see it as a punishment way to blame them for the bad work done. No, again, we want it to be uplifting. Even when we have employees that need to improve, that are not really performing well, the evaluation shouldn't be felt as a way to blame them, like a report note from school where, we have all this red pen on everywhere and we feel bad. No, it just has to be a space where we connect and we let them know. Again, we reinforce the idea that we value them, we value their contribution, and because we want to keep them, it's really important maybe to improve or to shift or to change this and this and this. And that was also a place for me to create and even be informed on situations that I wasn't aware of, because sometimes we don't know why employees perform the way they do. We just look at the results and they are satisfying or not satisfying. And we just go from there, from the data. Did they get the job done? Did they get the result we expected? Yes or no? And sometimes there are informations or reasons that are behind those results that, evaluation time can allow us to know in order for us to support our team more. And that's really the key. When we have evaluation sessions, we have to always come from a place of wanting our team to be better, to improve, right? So if that's the idea, we want to understand why there are, areas where the performance is not great and how we can support them so they can improve and perform better. Because again, remember, every time we fire an employee and hire a new one, we have to train them. The company is losing money. So the longer we keep employees motivated to stay with the company and work to improve, the company is a winner. So that's why it's important during the evaluation time to do that assessment, to really understand why the employee is not performing well in certain areas and how we can support them so they can improve. And of course, the reward is also really great to motivate people to work, to keep working as hard as they're already doing and keep performing the way they're performing. And the reward actually shouldn't be done at a certain time. For me, I really love to create reasons all the time to reward people for any given reason. Even the employees that were not performing at their best, that couldn't be rewarded really because of their work, I would always find a reason to reward them. Maybe if a passenger, because I was working with an airline, says something positive to about the employee, or maybe because they helped them do something or solve a problem, we will reward them, right? We will maybe during a meeting acknowledge what they did and just to make them feel good. Yeah. So rewards shouldn't be different, only at a certain times in the year or during the month, where one employee will be acknowledged and the other ones will still we don't know if we appreciate them or not. So we always want to reward them for every little action that they perform that is good, so they can stay motivated. Because if they don't feel rewarded, if they don't feel acknowledged, they feel like they are not valuable. And if they don't feel valuable, chances are they will want to look for another place where somebody can see their value. And I know if we have them in our company, we know they have a value. Whatever that value is, we want to acknowledge it, and we all want to highlight it any time we can.
So it shouldn't be limited to just employee of the month or employee of the year, right? We should we should look in for circumstances, or any small trials that people give should be rewarded, right?
Absolutely. So if somebody, is getting trained for a new position and they finally, can do it by themselves, we want to reward them for that. And that way we can reward all our employees, not only one, and other people feel left alone. That's why sometimes stories will start coming up. Oh, it's always the same people. Yes, sometimes in the company we have employees that are, performing better than others. That's a fact. But we don't want the underperforming ones to feel left behind, because they also bring value. And we want them to know that we see them and we appreciate them. So that's why we want to acknowledge anything that we can acknowledge, because the same way we let them know when they underperform, we also want to reward them when they perform well, when they accomplish something, when they do something, even if it has nothing to do with work. Sometimes, after work, somebody will even help somebody walking around the airport. That is not even our passenger. And we will hear about it in the meeting in the morning. I will acknowledge that, because it's again customer service. Even if it's not for the company directly, we want to appreciate their customer service skills. It has nothing to do with Employee of the Month, right? Anytime that shows the team that we see them, we value what they do, even if it's not life-changing for the company, we still appreciate every little effort they put to be good employees.
Right. Okay. So, Christelle, what resources you would recommend to someone trying to improve their leadership skills? Any book or any podcast, maybe?
Yes. The best book that I can recommend, the title is Extreme Ownership. I will remember the name of the author right now. But in that book was written by an ex-general in the Army of the United States. And he used that experience as a general in the army to really create a roadmap to what a real leader is. Because as a general, you are leading a team. And that book really shifted my mindset completely about what a leader is. And when in that extreme ownership, he says a leader takes ownership of every result that the team performs. If it's not good, the leader looks in the mirror and asks, what did I, when maybe in my way of communicating, I didn't share what I was expecting in the good way for them to understand it and get me the result that I wanted. So how can I explain it differently? How can I explain it better for them to understand it and give me the result that I want? So as a leader, you always want to take responsibility, not blaming the team. Even if they don't get you the result, if they don't perform well, you want to ask yourself, what could have I done differently? What do I need to do better? So you want to always take your leadership to the next level, because you know that if you stand for your team, if you always want to be strong and good for the team will always get better and better and better. So I found the book is written by Joko Willink and Leif Babin. It's an amazing book, Extreme Ownership. Okay. So if you can find that book, I highly recommend it. It's powerful when it comes to leadership skills.
Okay. Thanks for sharing that, Christelle. So finally, how can our listeners reach out to you?
Yes. If you want to stay in touch with me, you can find me on LinkedIn. On LinkedIn, my name is simply Christelle Biiga. As any other social media, and my website is christellebiiga.com. And if you want to, book me as a speaker to come speak to an organization and, on leadership, you can reach out to me at meetchristellebiiga.com. That's meetchristellebiiga.com. You can schedule me there as a speaker.
Okay, great. That was a great conversation with you, Christelle. I hope you enjoyed it. And thanks a lot for joining me in the Vantage HR Influencers podcast.
Thank you so much for having me.
Thanks for listening to Vantage HR Influencers podcast, where we engage with HR influencers about human resources. Please do subscribe to Vantage HR Influencers podcast on Apple Podcasts and Spotify for new episodes.